The Wakatilians had very little to do with any other culture other than themselves. They were very spiritual people, and many of the clans believed in Sabaoth, but a few had abandoned their beliefs and lived a life of brutality, and shamed those who did believe. They believed that Sabaoth, who created everything in the universe, put men on earth to see if he and his seed could be righteous people in his eye. Free will was their choice, so he wanted to see if any of his creations could be righteous or were they just evil because of free will. If he could find just one of his creations, who was righteous in his eye, he would give them the power over the rest of his creations in paradise. The Wakatilians believed in knowledge, so they read books and always had libraries within reach of their community. Just like today, they were nature lovers, rode horseback, and many shunned away from technology, saying it was evil. Scattered throughout the land, but by the end of the 23rd century, most were in America, what used to be called the South, and along the equator, for they disliked extreme cold weather. By 2282, 10 years later after the uprising, Abenian technology had transformed and restructured the entire planet. Many of the major cities transformed into floating cities or were surrounded by what appeared to be crystallized bubbles that reached as high as the ionosphere. They combined some using the two architectural designs. These cities were renamed after their former city names and called metros. Still, only a few major cities worldwide had a combination architectural structure of land, underwater, and floating cities. New York, New Orleans, and Los Angeles were the only three in the Americas, but as time passed, the Americas only had one, New York. There were no more airports. You traveled in a booth-looking device, dialed a number, a 2-digit number along with latitude and longitude, and you were there. Pollution ceased, and cars were no longer needed, for they used sky craft for travel and recreation. If you wanted anything, it simply appeared on an icon-friendly machine. There was no government, just 9 rules they called the 10 Commandments -1, for the commandment, "Thou shalt not covet," was deleted from the rule. It was a paradise for a group of people called Computans and the Abenians alongside them. They could transport individuals within seconds anywhere around the globe or even to the different planets they discovered. There were routes underwater that were amazing to travel through, similar to driving through a vast aquarium. The Computans were the group of individuals who lived and strived on the technology introduced to them by the Abenians, living a life of luxury beyond comparison to the Wakatilians or the Anacatas. Mansions, high-rises, and enjoying some of the fastest luxury vehicles on Earth, some of which could travel over 550 miles per hour. Someone seldom saw Computans outside of these bubble cities or metros. Most who traveled outside were usually up to no good. Their daily diet was prepared within seconds by speaking their menu into a unique device. Healthcare doesn't exist because of wand-like instruments that heal instantaneously called Wayne, which many carry on their person. Education, as we once knew it, was a thing of the past. They have access to downloadable education, which takes less than 5 minutes, and you'll have a PhD and whatever studies you prefer.